This is the social studies lesson for Thursday, May 21st. The materials that you'll need for today are your celebration magazine, the Memorial Day barbecue worksheet, a pencil, and crayons. So gather your materials and let's get ready to go. Go ahead and open up your social studies magazine to page 14. You should be looking at the title that says Success. Now, I've folded my magazine in half, so we're only looking at page 14. We're going to look at page 15 in just a minute after we've taken a look at this man right here. This man, his name is Benjamin Franklin. And the reason that he is on this page is because we're going to talk about other people that we honor. In previous pages, or in previous lessons, I should say, we've talked about different people that we honor, like presidents and Martin Luther King Jr. and veterans. We honor on Veterans Day. And well, there's other people also that we honor for other reasons. And this man right here is Benjamin Franklin. And he's important because he worked to start our country. Okay, now where would we be if we didn't have him working along with George Washington, right, to go ahead and begin our country? Now, along with that, there was so many other things that this man did. Now, let me just tell you, he was born in Boston, okay, and he went to school. He did go to school, and he worked at newspapers so many years, okay? So he worked at newspapers, and then he was the first person in America to start what they called a lending library, okay? He started this, and this was actually what it was back then. This was what the building actually looked like. It was a lending library. So he was the first person to start a library in America. So we have him to thank for libraries. All right, and actually this is what the building looks like now. See, they honor him by preserving that building and making it someplace for people to still go to. They make sure that that building is taken care of. It's like a monument. It's almost like a statue, I guess, but people can still use it, right? So that's one way. George Washington, now George Washington, sorry, no, we're talking about Benjamin Franklin. He was also an inventor, okay? He invented, I don't know how many things. I want to say close to 100 things. But one of the most important things that he invented for us, well, he didn't invent lightning, electricity, but he used, in this picture right down here, he was outside and he was using a kite to fly in thunderstorms. And he actually wanted the lightning to hit the kite. And he discovered how electricity worked that way. So, because of him and figuring that out and doing those experiments and testing out electricity and how it worked that way through lightning, that's why we have electricity in our houses today. Isn't that awesome? So thank you, Mr. Benjamin Franklin. And we honor him and show him that we still thank him for those wonderful contributions that he gave us by the buildings that we have for him and statues that we have. And if you've ever seen $100 bill, that is why he may look familiar, because that is his face on $100 bill. One of the most important things also that you will see him on is this picture right up at the top. I don't know if you can see it. Let me change my color right up here. There we go. That picture right there, that is the signing of the Declaration of Independence, where the United States of America got their freedom as an independent country. Became free. Remember when they came over from the Mayflower and they said they wanted to be free on their own? Well, that he was part of writing up the papers that made America its own free place. So he was part of that. We have him to thank for that too. So yes, he was a man that did a lot of things, right? Loved to read, he wrote, he was just so many things. So we thank him every day. And let's check on page 15 and find out about another very important American. All right, boys and girls, now you should be looking at page 15 of your Social Studies magazine. And we're going to discuss another successful American who contributed to American history. About 150 years after Benjamin Franklin, a man by the name of Booker T. Washington was born. Okay, and unfortunately, he was born into slavery. So he didn't have as many rights as he should have growing up, but he was able to attend school. So luckily, he was able to attend school, and when he grew up, he became a teacher. All right, so he became a teacher and he started teaching and decided that he wanted to do more for the African American community. So because of that, he started a college especially for African Americans. And that you see right over here in this picture. I'm sorry, not that picture. That school or that college was called the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute. Okay, he started that institute when he was 25 years old. Okay, that's crazy. That was so young, but he did it. That's just such a courageous thing to do, such a successful thing to do. And that college is still around now. If you look at the picture next to it, right over here, that's the college right there. That's what it looks like now in Alabama. And it still, you go over there, you can see it still has children attending, or not children, but young adults attending it. And he's honored there by this statue right below it, right there. All right, and basically it shows him, he's in the statue, and it shows him basically uncovering he's not really a child in the statue. I guess it's a young man uncovering a young man's eyes because he's exposing him to all the opportunities that he's going to allow him now because he's opening this school. So I think that was a great achievement for him, as well as for all the people that were able to attend the school and were able to grow from there. The school, what were their focus? They focused in agriculture and in an industry. So that was his main focus. So anybody who wanted to go, I guess, into farming, any kind of stuff like that. Now, this picture over here, you'll see in your magazine. The other pictures are ones that I've added. This picture right here in your magazine shows a picture from what it looked like back when he was actually teaching in his school. So it's funny to see how everybody went dressed up to school in suits and ties, huh? It shows how different it was from the past and the present. I mean, we wear uniforms now, but still. And over here, another great accomplishment. He actually was invited to the White House. So he was able to have dinner with President Roosevelt. And so that was a very big thing to be invited to dinner to the White House, especially because he was an African American. That was a huge thing. So, in fact, he was the first to be invited to the White House. So it's a great accomplishment. Now, this is Booker T. Washington. I know we've discussed a lot of different Washingtons. We did George Washington. He was the first president of the United States. We talked about George Washington Carver, and he was the inventor who worked with peanuts. But this is Booker T. Washington. So, yeah, so that's his university, Tuskegee University. All right, so let's keep moving on. The last pages that we're going to take a look at today are pages 16 and 17. The title of these pages are People with Courage. And on these pages are American Indians, as you see. These are people that have helped our countries also, right? Before the time of Benjamin Franklin and Martin Luther King and George Washington. Okay, these are also people that helped settle our country. Okay, people with courage that helped our country. All right, and because they had courage, they were also brave. One of those people is Daniel Boone, and he helped explore our country, and he made trails for other peoples to follow. All right, so if you were traveling a place that you had no idea, nobody had ever been there before, right? And you were traveling this place and exploring it, you had no idea what you were doing. Don't you think you'd be a pretty brave person? I do. So that made him a very brave and courageous person. So when he was exploring the land and making these trails, it made it so that other people could also follow these trails and find their way to these new places in what was becoming America. All right. Another person, or people, I should say, were Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. They also had courage because they went on a huge expedition and explored the land. It took them 3 years to make their expedition, and in their journeys, they made I guess you could say they made peace with other people, and they found a waterway, which was their initial intent. They needed to find a waterway, but they found a whole bunch of new land that they didn't even know existed. So that was a great thing too, because they realized at that point just how big America was. All right, go ahead and take a look over at page 17, and who I should say, who you see over here is actually Pocahontas. Now, if you remember the movie Pocahontas, then maybe you have an idea who she is. And she was a Powhatan Indian. And if you remember, we talked about her in class earlier this year, around Thanksgiving time, I think, or maybe a little bit later in the year. But when we were talking about the settlers when they came over to the United States, and when they were settling and exploring the land, and we talked about how she helped them. I remember we talked about how she helped John Smith. So she is very courageous, because how would you feel if you had lived in a place for a long time, and your family had been there for a long time too, and all of a sudden these people come over on a boat and they just start building things right there on your what you think is, or what is your land, and other people just come over and start building things, and what you would kind of feel threatened and scared. But she was brave and she was courageous, and she approached them and she tried to make peace with them, and tried to make I guess living with them peaceful, and make it a good environment for everybody so that everybody got along. So she was very courageous in that manner as well. So that's a few more people that have contributed to the American history in very positive ways. All right, so let's move on to our activity. All right, in honor of our upcoming Memorial Day holiday this weekend, and the fact that we've been practicing graphs in math, I thought that we would have some fun with our Memorial Day barbecue graph sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the graph part on the bottom first, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to count the pictures and then color the graph. So if you look on the left side of our graph over here, all right, you see that we have our symbols to show which item should go in each row. In the top, in the first one we have stars, then we have watermelon, and hot dogs, hamburgers, and the grill. All right, so go ahead and count how many stars and color one block for every star. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 stars. So then our boxes should be colored out to there. It's kind of hard to do with my mouse, guys. To do it slow. All right, so then to show that I have 11 stars, I would color in 11 boxes. All right, so my next one would be watermelon. Now go ahead and count the watermelon and color in one box for every watermelon that you have. Same thing for the hot dogs. For every hot dog, count your hot dogs, put in, color one box for every hot dog. For your hamburgers, count how many hamburgers you have, put in one box for every hamburger. You do not have to do your tally. You do not have to do that. Okay? Don't worry about the tally section over there. All right? Feel free to color all your pictures, make it nice and colorful. And remember, look at the numbers across the bottom. They're right there. That's how our graphs work, remember? The bottoms tell us one thing, the sides tell us another. The side tells us what is going in each row, and the bottom tells us the amount. All right? Have fun filling in your graph. I can't wait to see them. And that's all for math, or not for math. We're not doing math. Well, it is math, but that's all for math and social studies today. All right, I'll see you guys later.